What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast, hosted by Ryan Watson.
And I'm Trip Sproul, where it's all about real life, real talk, and real estate.
Join us as we dive into the stories, trends, and insider tips shaping the world of Mississippi real estate.
Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or you're just curious about the market, we've got all the insights you need to navigate with confidence. So if y'all are ready, let's get real.
All right, welcome back, guys. It's a happy Tuesday today. We got a really awesome guest with us today. He is one of our managing brokers here at Weichert Realtors Innovations. He is the immediate past president for the Mississippi Association of Realtors, MAR, and he has 49 years of experience in the real estate industry. Absolutely amazing. I could sit and ask him questions probably all day of just the years that he's been in the business. But without further ado, we have Mr. Gary Parker with us today. How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. And to the point of you asking me questions all day, I know how to say I don't know.
That's what you learn from your years of experience.
Absolutely. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'll find out.
Let me refer you to somebody who does.
Yeah. I'm excited to have you today too, man. It's about time, huh?
Well, it's a pleasure being here, and I've watched y'all's podcast and everything, and it's been good. And,
Appreciate that.
Hopefully, it will continue to be good.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what we're striving for. We hadn't let anybody hopefully too far astray just yet. Huh?
There you go.
We've still been battling some little technical difficulties behind the scenes. I think we finally got our video pretty good.
Yeah.
And we're still working on our sound a little bit. So y'all hang in there with us. We're trying to get everything just perfect. And if anybody knows me with this kind of stuff, I'm pretty OCD.
You are OCD.
But
what about this crazy weather real quick, man? We've gone from 80 degrees to back to wintertime. Yeah, I'm freezing in here right now.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, both of y'all got short sleeves on.
He's over here
again, wisdom.
Looking good.
Wisdom right
He's been sharpening his axe.
Oh, yeah. I'm not the old man with the axe today.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You have to go back a couple podcasts to hear that.
The story of you may have heard the story as a young man and an older man, and they had a competition with cutting down trees. Anyways, the old man ends up winning because he sharpened his axe and he took the time to keep his axe sharp.
Yep.
Instead of just going at the trees chopping with a dull axe.
Yep. So you're that wisdom today.
Well, listen, this last weekend I have done nothing but cut wood. I had trees that let big limbs fell.
From the storms.
From the wind, had one actually blow up from the roots and had to cut it. And I mean, this weekend was tough, but we made it.
We made it. Yeah, it's been kind of crazy weather and windy here lately. All right.
I'm going to get right into it.
Yeah, so look, let's jump right in. So tell everybody who is, in a nutshell, Gary Parker. Where did you grow up and where you're from? How did you land in Mississippi if you weren't born and raised here? But I feel like you were.
Well, no, I was not. I was actually born in Odessa, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And my dad was a petroleum engineer, and he actually came over here to open up the oil business in Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
And that was many, many moons ago, back when, a barrel of oil was $1 a barrel,
Well,
that type
80
so,
cents a
far
gallon back
beyond
then.
yeah, well, it was cheaper than that.
Oof.
But anyway, that's how my family actually got over here. And I moved over here when I was 7 years old. And that will tell you right now how long I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time, a long time. But that's how I got here. Went to Forest Hill School Forest Hill now is a high school, and I went to Forest Hill when it was first through the 12th.
Okay.
And so I went to Forest Hill from the third grade all the way through the 12th grade. Graduated from there in 1970.
Wow.
And then went to Mississippi State University.
Here we are.
Trip.
Yep.
And you can leave the room now.
I love this.
For y'all that don't, y'all that don't know, I graduated from Ole Miss, so we got a little rivalry across the table. But that's all right.
But graduated from Mississippi State in 1976 and went into real estate business. Went into real estate business because my mom had always, I think, Mom was kind of scared to take the test and everything, but she kept encouraging me, and I taught school for a semester, and I was don't put me in a classroom with a bunch of kids.
No, I always say teachers, they're special because I couldn't do
yeah.
that job. There's no way.
Well, they are, and the thing about it is I got my education, I got my degree in education, and I never could correlate the two. And now that I'm in real estate and have been in real estate as long as I've been, that now I use that education to help young people getting into the real estate business and to teaching the laws and the contracts and all this type thing. It has helped me tremendously from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So God always has a plan for you.
That's
He's
right.
got a purpose.
Absolutely.
And, so as my 49 years in real estate business, this last year I was the president of the Mississippi Association of Realtors. Yeah. And our mantra, my mantra that last year was purpose, principle, and passion.
Purpose, principle, and passion. There you go.
A lot of wisdom in that. Right?
And I guess where I got from, we had the PPP when the COVID was here.
Yeah.
I had my PPP.
That's right.
Purpose, principle, and passion.
And
I honestly believe that real estate is a calling.
Yeah.
And it's a ministry. And Jesus said when he was here on this earth and looked back at his disciples, he said, I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may be also. And he was the first realtor. We get to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We helping people here on this earth. This is not our home, but we get to help them, finding a home in this type thing. I think that's part of our heart. And there's people, just like any other business, there's people in this business that shouldn't be in this business. And it's a calling, it's a purpose, it's
I love that.
I don't, it's just, it's in my heart.
Yeah.
And I've done it for a long, long time, and I still love to do it today, to see that pleasure on people's face when they make a home for themselves. We sell houses, but they buy homes.
That's right.
And that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah, there's a big satisfaction. I've always told people with that, like when you get to the end of any closing or whatever you want to call it, transaction, but the homes that you see those people are going to create, the smiles on their faces, whether they're first time home buyers or making the step, out of their first time home into their transit, to the next, chapter of their lives. It's always there's a gratification behind that a few of us get to understand, but not a lot of people will ever get to.
Well, Trip, the thing about it is I have sat there and watched when I sold a home for people that have been in it for a long, long time, and they've had their kids and they raise their kids in these houses, and they sell their houses. They're moving someplace else for some reason or another, and they break down and start crying because this is where my kids were raised.
Yeah.
This is the memories and this type of thing. That's what you create when you have a home.
Yeah.
It's where the family is, and family is important to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what we get to do as realtors, is we get to observe all that. We see sad times in real estate as well. I've had some instances in the real estate business that touched my heart and bring tears to your eyes. And right now, if I started telling you some of those stories, it'd bring tears to my eyes now. But it's a special time, because in the consultations, which we're required to do now, this is where you get into people's heart.
Yeah.
You see where they are. You understand what they need. And that boob tube that we all work on, that call the computer, that is a tool.
I like your rendition of that, the boob tube.
Well, it's a tool, and it's supposed to be used as a tool. It's very significant in our business, but you still can't, God told us to love your neighbor as yourself. And I have not figured out how you do that over a computer yet. And, when you sit down like we're sitting down right now, and you're seeing the personality, you're seeing the eyes, you're seeing the people, you're seeing their soul.
Yep.
And that's what real estate's all about.
Yeah.
That's what's getting into their lives. You become a part of it. You put your feet in their shoes and you walk with that integrity, and you're helping them, and you're going out there to look at the houses through their eyes. And that's what that consultation is all about.
Yeah. I definitely want to come back to exactly what you just said about, I feel like for a while I got fast paced, and so the relationship building side of it kind of almost, I don't want to say got overlooked, but we kind of just skipped it almost because of COVID and everything. But I want to come back to that because I think that's very important. But I want to go back real quick when you're talking about you said your mom you said something like maybe she was interested in real estate? Is that how you got your connection? Dad was in oil business,
Right.
so mom started.
Well, mom and dad, we moved here. We lived over on Corey Drive, and back in those days, my dad wasn't going to live in the city. Every time the city moved, he moved because he wasn't living inside the city limits of Jackson.
Yeah.
And when we first moved here, we lived on Rickey Drive, which was in South Jackson, and the city moved, so we moved to Corey Drive. And then they developed a subdivision out in Woodville Heights subdivision out in South Jackson.
Yep.
And my dad built the third house that was built in that subdivision. That's where I basically grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And but my mother helped build that house and in working with the plans and all this type thing, was interested in it, and she was always looking at different stuff, and she kind of designed all that. But she was interested in real estate.
Yeah.
And she kind of encouraged me to go in that route.
That's awesome.
You know, I did it back, of course, back in those days. I can say that because I'm that old. You just went and bought a stack of books like this, and you went home and studied. There was no school. There was no nothing.
Wasn't YouTube or
nope,
any of that
or
stuff.
the classes.
Or the classes.
Hey, guys.
He's about to tell us how spoiled we are. It's coming. It's coming.
I watched the first computers come into the real estate industry because there was no such thing.
Yeah.
We used to get our hot sheets telling us what was on the market, what came on the market every Friday. They'd come by and make a delivery to our office.
Almost like a newspaper.
Yeah, almost like, and we look forward to it.
Yeah.
But when we got that computer, it was on tracks, and it would move, just click, 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 and we'd all sit there and watch it as it go across, you know.
Oh man.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And we had the big box phones.
Yep.
When they came out, we all carried pager. I would even get texts when I was on or pages when I was with clients, and it'd say Dr. Parker.
Yeah.
Because that was all that ever carried. Those pagers were doctors.
Yeah.
And the answering services would refer to us as doctor. And I'd sit there. I said, you know, an honorary degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually do. I tell my kids all the time, like, there were no cell phones when I was growing up. Yeah. You know, there wasn't even pagers. So I did, as I was growing up, that's when technology started really ramping up. I got to see the bag phones and the big box phones. And then in high school, I had a pager. And if your parents need you, you had to go put 25 cents into the pay phone on the side of a bank or a gas station. So we've seen technology come on. You've seen technology come on.
I carried quarters in my ashtray in my vehicle.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Ashtrays don't exist in vehicles anymore.
But they had ashtrays in cars back then, and I filled it up with quarters, and I'd have to stop and make phone calls.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
I got just a little side note. I got just a little small piece of the earlier days of real estate on one of my last deals that I just did. I had to print everything off.
Paper.
They didn't have computers. They didn't do emails, any of that. So I printed all the things off, which honestly helped me a ton because I had to make sure. You know, there's no automatically putting your name in or any of that stuff that we have the pleasure of today.
Yeah.
You had to fill it all out.
Well, and you know
all about that.
the Weichert is paperless. I mean, they put everything with dot loop and all of this type thing. Well,
right.
Clay, when Clay come to me, he says, "Dad, we're going to go paperless," and I said, "You're going to go paperless." I said, "This right here ain't going paperless."
Yeah.
But I can't do that. I got to have it sitting in front of me. And of course, I guess as you learn in real estate, and I've always taken a contract and pulled it out and turned it around to the people and explained it to them before they signed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't email it to them or dot loop it to them and say, okay, read this and sign it and send it back to me. I want to be there with the people, and I think that's important because when you're dealing with the largest investment most people make in a lifetime.
That's right.
It's important to be eyeball to eyeball and belly to belly to them, and that's Gary's opinion, and I think that's very, very important that you're there with them to answer questions or say I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very, very important for them to see that and to see the integrity that you have.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree with that. I actually do both too. I mean, I have the dot loop, but I also carry paper files. I still hand off paper files to my clients, and then I have I actually have and I keep a copy in my files because we're supposed to.
Well,
But everyone's like, "Well, you got
thank
it
you,
that
Trill.
way." Yeah, so I've got a little bit of old school with the new
There you
school,
go.
you know.
I'm not going to talk about how I do it.
Yeah, so
I'm afraid to talk about how I do it.
yeah. So all right. So mom lit the fire of real estate
Right.
in you. It obviously took. You said she had a sort of an impact. It seems like she had a real good impact because you've been
She
doing
did.
it for your career.
Well, and just like I said, it's a calling, and I've always loved getting with people and sitting down and listening to their stories and this type of thing. And it was scary when I first started, but it's been a pleasure, and I've sold a lot of houses.
Oh yeah.
And
well, piggyback. So let's get into the relationship side of it because like you said, you started when it was all paper. There wasn't probably I don't know. You tell me. Was there a mentality of the go and show that we had before COVID and before the new well, I don't say new buyers, the buyer agency's always been there, but let's just get into the relationship building side of it because I feel like newer agents tend to want to speed through that process and just get to the closing table or whatnot. COVID, I don't think helped anybody in that aspect. And now we're starting to see it slow down. I do think there's importance to what you're saying about relationship building because there needs to be, you need to look them in the eye, you need to learn their story. So build upon that.
And the world has changed, as everybody knows. And I'm not an advocate, and I'm not going to sit there and tell people that they need to go knock on doors and this type of thing. Now, it might not be a bad idea to knock on doors around the neighborhood that you live in. But to pick a place out and just go start knocking on doors when you don't know anybody and this type of thing, I'm not an avid fan of that. And there's still people that do that, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
For safety purposes and that type of thing, I don't agree with that necessarily. Relationship building is very, very important, and I think all your friends need to know that you're in real estate business. I think your sphere of influence, that's what we're talking about here. You need to increase your sphere of influence. You need to, and there's awards that are given out at NAR, MAR that give community awards to people that they win for serving the community, doing things in the community and helping people and this type of thing. That's what realtors are. Yeah. That's who we are. That's what we do. Yeah. We help people not only finding houses and helping them find a home, but we get involved in the community from Chamber of Commerce to the City Hall to advocacy. And that's one of the things that we've fallen down big time with as far as realtors because the public don't know what we do behind the scenes. That's right. Yes, we do work for, and we do get paid. Yep. But all the hours we spend looking after them from the standpoint of protecting their private property rights, making sure that they're not paying higher taxes, making sure that the government is operating in the same manner to help them live a life that's successful. Yeah, that's what realtors do, and we're one of the strongest political action entities in the state of Mississippi and in the United States.
Yeah, were you going to ask a question? I'm going to get to. We're about to get into Mississippi Association of Realtors. I want to say real quick. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
I was going.
Ryan and I tend to
jump on each other something. Yeah, we're the same track.
Do you think that I feel like it's a new stereotype with our profession? Because you just said, we're in there, we're building these relationships, there's hours behind it, but yes, we get paid. But I feel like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with TV and, the shows that are out there, but do you think some of the proverbial black eye we've gotten lately is because of something like the shows that are out there that just show the kind of sexy HGTV, show like the sexy parts of real estate, and so people just go, well dadgum, y'all don't do a lot, and you make a big commission. And
this is where the misconception comes in. Okay, they show these HGTVs and they see these houses being renovated in their gorgeous house. They're doing a great job in this type of thing. Yeah. But you have to look at real estate. Real estate is done differently in Jackson, Mississippi, than it's done on the Gulf Coast.
Yes. Yeah.
Real estate is done differently in Jackson, Mississippi, than it's done in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right.
and to the other corners of the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Prices are different. These people that are on HGTV, if you'll notice, they make $800,000 profit on this house, or they make $100,000 profit on this house. Well, they're making more profit than houses sell for here.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's a different scenario, but it puts a picture, a false picture,
Yeah.
to a lot of these people that want to go out there and invest in real estate and flip a house and this type of thing, because it's just not that easy.
It's not.
And you've got to take the scenario of where you live and this type thing into account
Yeah.
for what you're going to do from that standpoint.
Yeah.
And price makes a difference.
Yeah, I think we had Monique on last week, and we were talking about single family investing, and then we didn't go into flips. We kind of brushed on it, but like that's one of the things. Like a lot of people just watch those shows, think they can go flip, and then they can lose a lot of money because there's a lot to know behind flipping a house, margins, cost of everything, and it's not just the fact that like
even from the standpoint of codes that you have.
Code, all of that stuff. Depending on county by county. And then a lot of people just think, there's always going to be some unforeseen circumstance that happens in a flip. Once you start tearing down walls and seeing stuff, you get behind, there's going to be a snowball effect. But anyway, that's so TV kind of, I feel like, has turned real estate really into like a luxury type deal, but I feel like too, it's kind of a false narrative.
Well, and going back to what you was talking about relationships and forming those relationships and being a part of your community and this type of thing. And that's being part of the church as well. And I used to think that I used to say that I have never gone to church expecting to get business out of the church. I go to worship God. That's what I go for, and that's what you should go for.
Absolutely.
But God expected us to develop relationships in a church.
Yes.
That's right.
And we should help each other. So I've changed my whole scenario from the standpoint of asking people to help in the church with your business, because that's your family. Your church is your family. That's part of your soul. So, if you're going to be with them in eternity, you need to start your relationship now.
I agree with that.
That's right.
I agree with that too. Absolutely. So, well, what about we got into real estate. When did you join? When did you get in? Well, first of all, let's back up. When did you become a broker? Like, did you start? Obviously, you were selling to somebody. Tell us your story about, I guess, when you got your license. Who did you start with? Or
I trained in real estate under Bill and Joyce Leach Real Estate here in Jackson, and they were a tremendous help to me and a guide to me in the real estate industry. Bill Leach became like a brother to me in real estate, and I'll never forget the first time when I went over there. He had an open house over in a subdivision called Oak Creek, and of course houses weren't anywhere close to as expensive as they are now. And it was my first open house. I had never done that before, and I was standing there, and a person came through, and they wanted a house, and they wanted it right then. And Bill looked over at me. He said, "Write the contract." I had never written a contract in my life. I looked at him like
like, do what?
That's when you're in the deep end.
Really,
right?
and I mean, he pulled the contract out, and I sat down. Of course, he helped me. He guided me through it.
Sure.
But that was just an absolutely shocking thing to me. And of course, it was his open house. I thought I was just there to observe. And
would have been for anybody, I'm sure.
He absolutely turned it all over to me and walked me through it and trained me from that standpoint. But tremendous people, and they still do real estate. Their kids do up in Amory and in that part of the world, up Smithville, Mississippi, where he was from.
But, my grandmother lives in Amory.
I've worked with Leach Real Estate. I was their sales manager for quite a few years after I had learned. I got my broker's license 3 years, so in 1989.
So right after so you went 3 years, got your license, then broker,
and then
broker's license.
You talk about relationships. My high school football quarterback was John Robinson, and he and I were good friends, and he was in the trim business and started building houses, and I started selling houses.
Here we go.
And
builder connection.
And I several houses, and we started growing. And we
Yeah.
grew together. John and I were together for about 32 years.
Oh, wow.
And he became one of the largest builders in Mississippi.
Mhm.
And I guess, we developed Byram. I mean, there's not but a few homes off of Gary Road out in Byram that I hadn't touched.
It's not named after you, is it? The road?
No. There's a lot of people there is a Parker Drive in Byram Estates that is named after me.
No, okay, there you go.
But yeah, he we developed and grew together, and John passed away, but he was a tremendous guy, and we grew together, and I sold a lot of houses, and we worked, and that's what you call relationships.
Yeah.
You build, you never know where they're going to go, and all of that is in God's hands. But
Absolutely.
it was a tremendous journey
Yeah.
that we were on. And of course, I stayed in real estate, and I never got involved in leadership till I went to Joe Ushery's office. She was the AE for the Central Mississippi Realtors, which was Jackson Association of Realtors, and then it turned into Central Mississippi, but it was Jackson Association when I went to her, and I was sitting across, and I started complaining about some things that were going on. And she says, "I'm so glad that you came here. You are now chair of that committee."
The complaint box.
I said, "Oh, Lord." But yeah, she got me involved in leadership, and going from there. I was even there when they changed the name to Central Mississippi Realtors, and we had to lobby the National Association to do all that type thing. But she always told me knowledge is power. So she gave to me the importance of education, and education is very, 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 very important for realtors. Your continuing education, getting your license, all of that is very, very important. And without it, where would we be? If we didn't have those laws, the rules, the regulations, and we've been lobbying to get the rules and regulations from the commission for several years, and we're fixing to get them. I believe that they're coming because it was mandated by I think the Secretary of State. So we're waiting for that to come out. But if you don't know the rules and regulations, how can you operate?
Yeah, that's a great point.
How do you know when you're doing something wrong?
Yeah.
So relationships are very, very important, and that's what drove me to be in leadership.
Yeah.
And those relationships took me right on up. I was president of the Central Mississippi Realtors. I was president of MLS. I was, and then led me to be president of the Mississippi Association of Realtors.
I don't know if I knew that you were president of MLS.
I didn't either.
I think I knew you were involved with Central Mississippi Realtors. I did not know MLS, and obviously we know, Mississippi Association of Realtors, because you're still a great advocate for them, even in our meetings, and
well, I'm the immediate past president now.
Sure.
So, and I'll fall off of that EC this year.
So tell our viewers what MAR is. We've already been talking about. Just tell them, I guess, in a nutshell, what Mississippi Association
if they may
of
not
Realtors
know
is.
what MAR is.
Well, you've got your National Association of Realtors, and that's the mother hub of all the realtors across and there's 1.5 million, or there could be, I think there's probably more than that now. But then you have this different state associations of realtors. And MAR is the Mississippi Association of Realtors, and they are encumbered by all the realtors in this state. In other words, when you join the Realtor Association, and education is part of it, they offer you the ethics. They give you the role of advocating for the public, politically, and individually, and to help your communities, because it breaks down from the MAR to the Central Mississippi. And I think we have 20. I think it's 20. I may be wrong there, but different associations across the state of Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
And they're all up under MAR.
Yeah.
And they're all doing things for their community and advocating for the public and helping the public from that standpoint.
Yeah. Expand on the advocacy and the legislative representation, because I feel like you do a really good job of. I've learned a lot when you just hearing you in our meetings talk about how realtors play a role in just giving you the right to buy and sell houses. So that
Well,
advocacy and that legislative role, expand upon that. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, and it's back to the very first question, Trip, that you asked, and it's about relationships, and it's developing those guys that are up there developing the laws and carrying on state business, the senators, the representatives. They're very, very important to you and your community and the things that go on in the state of Mississippi, all the way to the governor of the state of Mississippi. And to have those relationships, you need to know those people. Well, and I hate to bring this up, but you know, when you have money, then at that point in time, you're helping them get their points across, because you can help them in their advocacy, talking to the other senators and legislators about the rules, the regulations, the things that are going on in the state of Mississippi that will help improve the state of Mississippi. Without businesses, we don't survive.
Yeah,
Guys.
yeah.
Businesses bring people.
That's right.
People pay taxes. That keeps us going with our infrastructure, that everything. And we are involved in all that from the standpoint of being realtors. We keep our eyes on it and focused on the things that's going to help the people that live in the state of Mississippi. That's what realtors do.
Yeah.
And by being that advocacy agent, then we can influence, and we have some influence. We listen to what they say, how they're doing things, and we don't always agree with it. And that's when we go in and say, well, this is why that's not a good idea. And they listen to us.
Yeah.
And that's important for the people of the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all for. The legislators and the realtors work together. And there's other advocacy people out there as well.
I want to bring up something else too. I mean, this is a great reason why, if you are a realtor, why you should be involved in CMR, MAR, and all the things that they've got going on.
Absolutely.
Because they're standing up.
And you know, I did not know what real estate was. And I sold all these houses, when all these subdivisions in Byron, that's all I did. I listed, sold houses. I was not in the real estate business until I actually got involved in leadership. That's when I became a realtor.
Yeah.
That's when I started learning what real estate is all about. And it's not just like the property out there and the houses out there. It's about what we do for the communities. I mean, they're strong, guys.
Yeah.
And it's important for the people, the public, to know what the realtors do.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, you know, I'll find a prospect this week and I'll go out and show them houses and everything. It's all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes to be a realtor. And that's important to everybody.
Yeah.
And the education that I was talking about, MAR also offers the Realty Institute. And they have the courses, they have the continuing education, they have, what better place to get your education from other realtors?
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's who's teaching those courses. And that's important to you.
Absolutely.
Because then you know the reality of the things that you're learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is why
that's valuable.
Yeah, it's very valuable. Because I've even had, you know, you get people that you go back and forth with, whatever, and I think I've had and I learn, you know, more and more every day. The more you're in this business, the more you learn. Education's a huge part of it. But there's been times when I first got in it that I couldn't explain very well outside the in-depth what a realtor does outside buying and selling homes. You know, like how you take it further, being involved in these groups. And that's why I'm saying sometimes there's a short-sightedness of what we do versus what we're actually all plugged into and what we're advocating for your right to buy and sell homes in this state.
And it's just like the education part that MAR offers.
Yeah.
And you've got MAR Realtor Institute, and then you've got these other online institutes and this type thing. And what I hate to hear is I take it from those other institutes because it's cheaper. Now, what does that tell you?
Sometimes you get what you pay for.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the truth though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, they offer you so much more at MAR when it comes to your education and this type thing.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, you'll get free courses from MAR every once in a while as well if you keep your eyes open.
For sure.
And but because they offer some tremendous training, and it's realtors that's doing that. They've been there, they've done it, they see it the same way that y'all do as agents out there in the communities and this type thing, and they're there to help. And that's and MAR is there to help. I mean, you can pick up the phone at any time and call up there, and they have an attorney that has a hotline, which I don't know whether y'all know that or not.
I did not.
And you can call up there and get on the hotline, and that attorney will return your phone call and answer the questions that you've got legally. That don't cost you anything. He's there to help you.
Yeah.
And a tremendous guy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, MAR's got so much to offer to help you as realtors.
Oh, I remember when we were going through all the rule changes with the settlement with NAR, and I don't want to get too deep off in that because we can go on for a long time with that. But I went to several classes and several things to learn about all these new changes and the rules that were going on. So very valuable at that time.
Well, and you know, the biggest thing is the buyer representation contract that you sit down with, and it's a consultation that you're supposed to have with them. And guys, we should be doing that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, why in the world would you want to do? And I've heard the
relationship.
I've heard the point that a lot of these realtors are sending out dot loop stuff for them to sign, and we'll go show you this house, because you're not supposed to be able to show a house unless this is signed.
Yep.
And you know, and that's one of the rules.
Yeah.
And but if you're going to show a house to somebody, why wouldn't you sit down with them before you do that and have a consultation? I've done that for 49 years I've been in real estate.
So we're just going
Nothing's new to you.
So you said we're not going to get into it, but I think it's important to. We'll come back to
a little bit.
Well, we'll go ahead and do it now. We're talking about it. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, because we can come back to some. He's already hit on a lot of the MAR stuff. A lot of new people feel like this is a new thing, but you can put that myth to bed. You've always the buyer agency's always been out there, correct?
Right.
And so for older agents like yourself, y'all are accustomed to this.
Well, you asked me about developing relationships, and what did I tell you? That you can't do it over a computer.
Yeah.
That's developing relationships.
Yes.
When you have that consultation with people, they're not there to see you, you're there to see them.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to do, is you've got to keep them first and foremost. I was told a long time ago by the administrator of the Real Estate Commission that as long as you're representing the people that you're supposed to be representing, I don't have a problem with you. Exactly what come out of his mouth. Represent them. How can you do that over a computer?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How?
It's very difficult, for sure.
And you know, the people don't understand all the things that the realtor has to do to sell that house. They're looking after the public. When they walk into a house, they're looking to protect that person that's buying that house.
Yep.
They're bringing out things that the people don't actually think about, and we think about it every day.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
From the structure to the working parts of the home, the air conditioning, the heating, this type of thing, the actual, you know, advising them to get these home inspectors and this type of thing. All of this is within the realm of what a realtor does for the public. And they learn that in school.
Yeah. And I think there's great value in social media, in the internet, but you have to, once somebody gives you the business, or they say, hey, I'd love for you to be my realtor, that's when you say, okay, well, I want to sit down with you and let's have dinner, let's have lunch, and let's have that conversation and build that relationship. I think that's very important. Sure.
Well, it is, and you know, I always like the first meeting that I have with people, I always try to do it in person.
Yep.
And sit down with them and talk to them and find out what they want, because that's what my job is to find out what they want.
For sure.
And then it's okay to text them back and forth.
No, yeah, sure. That's a part of the communication.
That's what the communication and the value of your social media and this type thing. But you know, I think we've taken the social media too far.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, I think that, you know, advertising on it and doing all these type things and bringing in prospects and all this clientele and this type thing, but to use it as your number one communication with people, you can't talk to the heart unless you're in front of them.
That's
You
right.
got a heart emoji. I didn't know where you're going with that. I 100% agree with that.
I
Yeah,
do
if
too.
you're using social media to be your number one source of communication, I think that is setting yourself up for failure for sure.
I think definitely build your
Marketing.
brand.
Yeah,
and
branding, marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sit down and talk to people.
Do you find in this day and age, with the changes and everybody's busy and the speed of life, that it's do you personally find that it's more difficult to get people to slow down and come meet you? Because sometimes I feel like people are such on a fast pace, it's just hard to nail them down sometimes, or they act like they're busy and they are. And I feel like COVID again had a little bit of a. I feel like
An impact
realtors
on that.
right now or we're everybody's getting accustomed to the newer agents, the buyer agency agreement, and I actually love it. I think it protects everybody, and if you're able to walk through that, you provide your worth and all that good stuff. But I think with COVID, I feel like our customer base, I feel like the people that we serve feel like there's still like a scarcity mindset. We got to go now. We got to go now. So, do you feel like it's harder to get people to slow down?
Well, and I'll say this: I think it's always been harder to get people to slow down. Okay, I mean,
regardless
even back when I was training in the real estate industry, I went to seminars where people talked about getting clients to come into your office and all this type thing. And if they couldn't, they'd jump in their car, find out where they were on a payphone, and they'd run over there to. He said, "Where are you located right now?" And they'd put them on hold and then run to the payphone where they were, because they wouldn't come into the office. So that's always been a problem from that standpoint.
All right.
And I think that guys, we got to get away from the COVID thing.
I know.
It's life. I mean, it happened. It's over. Let's go forward.
Sure.
And I think that's the way we need to do it. And I have not yet seen anybody that found their way to heaven through social media.
Yeah.
It's only through Jesus Christ, and that was a personal relationship. And you develop your personal relationships, eyeball to eyeball, tummy to tummy.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. I mean, that's how important our business as a mission, as a calling, that's how important it is.
Yeah.
Because then we can help people when we find out what they want. You can't put your feet in their shoes and have the empathy for those people unless you know those people and see the circumstances that they're in. And you take their finances, you take the whole thing. This is what realtors do. And we sit down and analyze and we say, okay, this is what you can qualify for according to what you have told us, and a mortgage company can tell you better. But this is what I see that we're coming up against, and this is what you can afford. Yeah. And a lot of people in today's economy can qualify for a lot more than they want to spend.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, the banks will put it out there.
You got to get to that point that I'm going to put you into something comfortable. You don't want to put somebody in a house that's going to be a strain on there. Finances is one of the biggest causes of divorce across the nation.
That's true. Yep.
So, I mean, that brings us into the scenario of helping people feel comfortable to where they can go out and have a hamburger during the week.
Yeah.
And having that concern to help them.
Yeah, I can think of I'm thinking biblical here when you were talking about Jesus and everything, but I can only think of maybe one or two times that when Jesus was on this earth, walking around, that he wasn't right there in front of somebody and healed somebody in person.
That's right.
He could have very well have healed somebody from wherever he was at.
Did it one time.
Yeah. Okay. Was it one time?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it was one time. But that's there's a great example right there. I mean, if God was in person and here and having those relationships with people.
Isn't that going back to what you're saying?
I try to get too far away from him.
Isn't that what God did? Is He sent His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish. So at that point in time, He had enough that He sent Him down here to live amongst us.
That's right.
To show His glory through His Son.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we do, and that's what He did. And if He was that concerned and needed to be face to face with us, don't you think we need to be face to face with people as well?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right there.
And I
So,
think
Trip, you need to clean up your personality. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I knew we were going to get
It was coming. It was
The
coming.
only reason I said that, you're the only one on this table that's from Ole Miss.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're going back. I knew.
has to do with
I
football.
told Ryan we're not going to get through this whole podcast without Mr. Gary getting on me in some form of fashion. I knew it was coming.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
I think that is a lot of that's a lot of wisdom, period. We're not shy to talk about our faith on this podcast, and we do think that everything is driven from a higher power, and we've been placed here for a reason.
If you don't believe that, that's fine too.
Yeah,
that's just what we believe.
I mean, that's everybody's choice.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest gifts that God gave us was volition, choice.
That's right.
Your choice.
That's right. But we also, I feel like we were led to this business because we're in the servicing. We have a servicing mindset, servicing heart, and that's where we want to be. A lot of people look at you when you say that as a realtor and be like, well, that's easy to scuff at that, roll our eyes, but that's. We talked about it earlier. We enjoy seeing those people. We provided a service. We help them get in a home. They get to build their family, hopefully their faith, their relationships in that home that we helped them get. And I truly believe without us, they may not have been, they won't find those type of properties.
It's building a relationship, just like you brought me back to it twice about relation. And that's what this business is. It's a relationship business. And it's a relationship with you, the people, and with God. And that's the way I see it.
That's about as simple as you can boil it down to.
Well, I love it.
I do too. That's great stuff. I mean, I think we've said, and I say over and over, if we can just grab a few nuggets from each podcast, I feel like you've just laid out a lot of it, and a lot of simple ones. Relationship building, and you can take that from there.
Where you take your relationships and you expand on them. And you develop what they call on social media a group.
That's true. That is true. I will say something too as far as relationship building. I'll kind of out myself here because this is real life, real talk, real estate.
For sure.
I've been one of those that have gotten in the business and tried to do everything you can do to generate business, and I'm working harder in 2025 of going back to the organic style of it. I bought leads, and what I found with the leads that you purchase is that you definitely don't have that relationship, and they don't know you from Adam. They don't really trust you. They kind of like, well, maybe he can help me with this house. So my point is the relationship part of it is way better than the organic way of doing this. It's almost like wealth building. If there is no get rich quick scheme, and if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And so I've had to step back and do what he's saying and refocus on my relationships and pour back into those, because I feel like the organic way is the best way to do it.
It's what you call, Trip, being involved. And if you're not involved, you're not working with your sphere of influence.
That's right.
And if you're not involved in your sphere of influence, you're not building relationships.
Right.
And if you don't have relationships, you're not selling houses. And
that's true.
That's what we do. And but in the whole process, you're doing things for your community, you're doing things for your friends, you're seeing the concern, you're seeing the heart, you're seeing the being able to put your feet in people's shoes. It's being there with them. And I've never seen that done on the computer to this day. To this day, I've never seen that.
I truly believe it, and I try to have this mindset about real estate. I feel like if your perspective is not to get to closing table, but build those relationships and love on people, the closings are going to come. And the success is going to come if you put that last. And just, I love what we're talking about.
Bill Leach told me one of the things, and I had gone to a school, Tom Hopkins School of Real Estate, many moons ago. And I was using his technique. And I mean, people would call me and I'd answer a question with a question. And I'd drill them on the phone. I mean, and I got very good at it. I could answer a question, but they'd never get any information out of me because I was always trying to get information out of them. And it was a tug of war.
Yeah.
And finally, big old Bill Leach come walking into my room after I hung the phone up for somebody, and he'd been in his office right behind me, talking or listening to me. And he came and sat his chair down right in front of me. And he says, "Let's change the way we do business." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" He said, "Nice people to death.
Kill them with kindness."
And just answer their questions."
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
"Yes, sir." But you know, that stuck with me more than anything I'd ever learned on any of those seminars. Nice people to death.
Yeah.
Because they're calling you for information. Give it to them.
Yeah.
Be nice to them.
Yeah.
Be
Cordial.
cordial.
Yep.
I couldn't get that word out to them.
Yeah.
And help them. That's what we do. We
Yeah.
help people. And that was probably
Love
the
your
biggest
neighbor as yourself.
that's probably
Yeah.
the biggest lesson that I've always remembered it. Nice people to death.
Yeah.
Just nice people to death.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah, and I agree with that. Kill them with kindness, nice people to death. So speaking of relationship building, MAR, Mississippi Association of Realtors, they have networking opportunities too. Right?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
But it is it's more geared towards realtor to realtor, right? Networking. Would that be accurate?
Well, I mean, you've got opportunities if you'll watch what MAR does. They have the advocacy. One of their big things is raising money for MAR-PAC. And everybody, that's investing in yourself. When you give to MAR-PAC, that's investing in yourself because you know. Although, and I speak kindly of all of the legislators and senators and that type thing, some of the bills that come across, which they don't know, but some of the bills could greatly affect the real estate industry and affect you.
Yeah.
So you investing in MAR-PAC keeps you abreast because they have a lobbyist up there that works full time with the legislature. They know the bills. They keep us abreast of what's going on up there, what the bills are, what we need to be aware of, and we fight for the right thing.
Yeah.
And to help the realtors and to help the community.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about.
Yeah.
So, and I hope that answered your question.
It does. Well, yeah, it definitely did as far as with the Capitol and the legislature and whatnot.
But they have different, and to go a little bit further, they have, get-togethers.
Yes, that's where
the get-togethers.
Because
it's all realtors, but we do invite legislators and people like that to come in. And listen, you're networking just like Clay was talking about this morning about y'all's Orlando trip or wherever you're going.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. You got a great chance of picking up referrals from the people from Tupelo, from Meridian, from Vicksburg, from the coast, and from all these different places. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you something. There are some tremendous realtors across this state.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they're absolutely great. And I have developed some great. I was telling Shannon a while ago, I said, I have got to get involved in some other activities because all my sphere of influence has got the real estate license.
I know, yeah. I feel like I've got a good portion of that too. Yeah. I think the dot I was trying to connect, and you're all around it, is that the MAR networking that they provide for realtor peer-to-peer is important because not only do we need to have a relationship with the community, but I think we need to get back to having better relationships within peer-to-peer, realtor to realtor, because I feel like there's, I've experienced, I won't say it's almost, it's a competitive business, but we all play in the same sandbox. And I think it's important to have those relationships as well, because we're going to work with each other eventually.
Oh yeah,
and so that relationship is as important, in my opinion, than as with the community. Yeah, don't you agree?
Well, I agree totally, and you learn who the realtors are, and because they're involved. That's one of the disappointing things that I've seen, even with CMR when I was president there, and this, we've got a lot of members, but you got very few that participate, and but the ones that do are strong. And some of them, you've heard the old saying, they're strong as 10-year-old garlic, and and they can help you as much as you can help them, and they're willing to help you. And that's the great thing. I mean, just like I said, we've got some tremendous realtors across this state,
Absolutely.
and some big hearts. And they would, they'd give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah,
And that's what realtors do, and that's who, as the commercial says, that's who we are.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest phrase that made the most sense to me across the nation, was that's who we are.
Yeah. Fantastic. I agree.
I do too.
100%. So we got MAR, Mississippi Association of Realtors, is important to our profession. Advocacy legislation. Being involved.
I mean, all these things we're talking about are things that are reasons why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Build community, build relationships.
And build friends.
And build friends.
Well,
and that's what we've been telling people.
And some of them are nuts.
Yeah.
We're all a little
they're
crazy.
A lot of fun.
Yeah,
we're
all a little crazy. I agree with Ryan. I mean, we've had somebody post a comment saying that we're just searching for clients with this podcast. And the funny thing is that when Ryan approached me about doing it, and it was all his idea about doing this podcast, it was more or less for us to learn off each other. Yeah. And then we're like, hey, try to create a community of, so incoming realtors can maybe come across some of this, maybe they learn something. And then, we've had, we've had other realtors sit across that from other, brokerages, and we've learned off them, listen to their story. Absolutely. Because there's, like you said, there's amazing people out there, and we can all learn from each other. But we want this podcast to be a community, local community, for the buyers and sellers, the realtors, the industry leaders, and business community.
And
that's
to answer the person that gave you that message that you're doing this.
It wasn't you, was it?
No. But let me just say that yes, we do this to have clients, but we do this to inform you as a client of what your ins and outs in the real estate industry is.
That's right.
That's important to you.
Yeah.
And if y'all weren't doing this podcast, and I'm proud of y'all for doing it, I think it's tremendous.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you get lots of people coming to you, because this is the way you develop your sphere of influence.
Right. Yeah,
I told
absolutely.
him it's not about the views to us. It's not about. I think we have quality views. We learned that. Adam Black was telling us that.
Black had a great perspective on that.
Yeah, great perspective on that. And so I think we've got quality listeners, and at the end of the day, if we make new friends and love on people and all the things that we've been talking about and building relationships, that's the most important thing about what we're doing.
Yeah. And I want people who don't know us to learn about us. I mean, I just told y'all, I'm going to be vulnerable on here. I just said I paid for real estate leads when I got in the business because I was trying to build my business.
Most of the real estate leads that I'd got, if I'd have got 10 of them together, they could have probably bought a $25,000 house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens too. So I think I want people to see who Tripp Spruill is, and that I'm certainly want to be approachable for other agents and the community and things like that.
It's what you call character and integrity.
Yeah.
And that's important in our business.
Yes.
And we need more people like y'all. And I testify to y'all's character. Maybe not Tripp.
I was just about to say, keep going. Then I'm like, never mind.
Y'all are doing a tremendous service with this, and I appreciate it. I take my hat off to y'all for that.
Appreciate that. Well, look, we appreciate your wisdom.
Yeah,
it's fun, and we're glad we got you on, and we want to get a lot more of our Weichert team on board and learn about their stories too. So
probably, I'll say this: thank you for your, I'm gonna call it service,
absolutely.
MAR. And everything that you've done, because
you've been a big advocate for the state and for all the leadership roles you've held. So that's a huge
and I will tell you both this, and I'll tell the whole real estate community out there that I got a lot more from them than I gave to them.
Yeah,
I gained a bunch of knowledge, and it's been absolute pleasure from that standpoint. It may be taken away from my real estate business from doing that, but it's been a very, very good journey, and I honestly,
that speaks to your heart.
I honestly think that God had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, for sure. So. Well, I know that I feel 100% blessed and fortunate to be with Weichert and have you here, because anytime we have a question, I know we have a lot of wisdom and resources that, I mean, we have you. I mean, you're a resource for all of us that are in this office, and you have a lot of answers. And one thing that I have learned off of you, and I've heard you tell it before, is it's okay to say, I don't know, but I can find out and I'll get back to you later on.
Yeah.
A lot of people are so scared to, there's some things you can look really bad if you try to act like you know the answer when you don't.
Well, I've been doing this for 49 years.
I make that mistake.
And trust me when I tell you, I don't know everything at all.
Well, it's constantly changing, right?
And I think that's what actually keeps my interest in the real estate industry, because everybody that you meet with is different.
Yeah.
And you learn something from everybody, and it's never a boring situation.
Yeah.
Trust me, somebody will come along that'll make it really, really interesting.
Yeah, I've had experiences. I mean, you're right. I mean, the personalities you run across in this business is never ending. I mean, you're going to see them all, and then you're going to find some. When you thought you saw them all, you'll find one that you, you know what I mean? But that's, I mean, to your point, that's what keeps it fresh and exciting and keeps you going and whatnot. So
challenge to it.
Yeah. What is your outlook for Mississippi real estate moving forward? You just said stop looking in the rearview mirror, folks, at COVID. We're looking out the windshield.
Well, and you know, being in the leadership position and watching the things that are going on from the standpoint of the Senate legislature and the governor of the state of Mississippi, they have done an excellent job of building the state of Mississippi and building the education in Mississippi. Governor Tate Reeves has absolutely pushed for that for years, and we're getting there. I mean, we've come from the bottom up. I think, we're approaching the time we're in the 20% level in education and the reading abilities for your elementary schools.
He was on Fox News not too long ago talking about that.
They've done a great job there, and they've done a great job of managing the funds for the state of Mississippi. They're bringing in industry in the state of Mississippi, which I never could understand why, because of our weather and this type thing, why industry didn't move to Mississippi. And they're turning around.
And our access, you know, where highways and
I mean, from the standpoint of the Speaker of the House to the Lieutenant Governor to the Governor, I mean, they're working together better than I've ever seen anything. Of course, I think they're not really liking each other right now because of the income tax thing. But they, you know, they're working for the people of the state of Mississippi, and that's important. And everything that they've done, even from the standpoint of income tax, was for the state of Mississippi, and they're succeeding. And that's the, if you bring people into the state, if you bring industry into the state, you're going to sell houses, guys. So what does that tell you from the standpoint of our future in the real estate industry? It's good.
It's good.
It's good, and it's going to be good, and it's going to build up. And the interest rates and everything has slowed us down a little bit. I don't think we'll ever see the 2% and 3% anymore.
I agree.
I think Lawrence Kuhn, which was the National Association of Realtors, he's their finance group guru. He's actually said that he don't ever think we'll see below 5% again. So, you know, we're not much over that now. And I think that it's time to buy a house. You know, and it's time to sell a house. And you know, it's out there. And, you know, when I first got in the real estate business, you qualified people from 29% of the gross monthly income for your house, note, taxes, and insurance. And 41% for your house, note, taxes, insurance, and all of your outstanding debt. Now, 49 years later, you qualify people for a house for 29% of the gross monthly income for house, note, taxes, and insurance. What does that tell y'all?
That hadn't changed.
That hadn't changed, and prices have gone up, but so have the income. Because you qualify in the same manner. So you know you're still in the same scenario you were 49 years ago. The prices have gone up, but so has your income. Buy a house. And we're here to help you do it.
Absolutely.
That's true. We said on the podcast with Adam Black, we all agreed that like the interest rates weren't going to go back down. You know, that was back in that rearview mirror for a weird time in the economy and things going on. But we all felt like the baseline, and Adam Black made a good point, finding the baseline. 2025 might be the year of finding the baseline. And we all felt like 6.5 may be our baseline.
Well, and
and that's not saying we're not saying, disclaimer, 6.5 is going to be it, so wait. We're just saying that
nobody can foretell.
We're not going to be in the threes.
Well, think about it from this standpoint too, guys. They wanted you to have almost 70% of your income after you paid your house note 49 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to have 70% of your income left over today too.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb
Yep.
of how to buy a house.
Yeah.
And, of course, the mortgage company's going to go through. I'm not a mortgage person, but they've given me these statistics or percentages to help me when I'm talking to people in the subdivisions and this type thing. But, I mean, it hadn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll help you not get over your head when you're buying a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that
100%. Yeah. So the Mississippi real estate outlook per Gary Parker is good.
Yep.
I like it.
If that tells you anything.
Well, it tells, it tells me what I need to know.
Maybe next I'll be on Fox News.
Maybe next right after Tate Reeves. That's right.
I mean, how can you disagree with 49 years of experience in this industry?
And look, he's learned how to simplify it into it's good.
It's good.
It's
good. Yeah. It's gonna be good.
I love it. That's man. I tell you what, Gary Parker took us to church today, man. He's preaching.
I know we ain't done yet. I want to hear a good story because
I want to hear.
If I know anything about Mr. Gary Parker, he knows.
He could probably tell us 2 or 3. I mean, don't be scared to throw one embarrassing one in about Clay if you need to.
I'm gonna leave Clay alone right now.
Oh, okay.
One of the most interesting stories that I was with the builder that I was telling you about and myself. We were in Willowwood subdivision, and I had some people come into the house on a weekend and wanted to buy it. Well, I had another one come in and wanted to buy it. So they were both. I was working with both of them. Dual agency type situation, and that was hard.
Yeah.
So I called the builder, and he come down, and we sat down and talked about it, and the people were in the office with us, and he looked over at the one customer, and he said, "Who was the first one to come to the house?" And I told him, I said, "Well, they were," and he said, "Okay." He said, "We'll accept your contract, and I'll have you closed the same time I closed them on a lot right down the street." House hadn't even been built yet. The foundation hadn't even been put forward. And he said, 30, 45 days, he said, I'll have you in the house. Same house and everything.
Wow.
So they signed a pre-sale contract. These people bought the house. And guys, I closed both of them on the same day.
He
built that house in 45 days.
They were working overtime on that bad boy.
He sat down and I sat down with him.
Yeah.
And he got a calendar out. And he wrote just exactly what had to be done on every single day through that calendar. And he called his people, and he says, "Okay, this has got to be done. Don't tell me you can't, because it's got to be done on this day, this day, this day, this day, this day." And when we got there, we closed them both the same day. That was the most unusual thing, and the fastest I've ever seen a house built. But from the ground up, he was getting it.
He was getting
it. He built them both. But
has that ever happened again?
No. No.
No, that is I don't think I've ever heard anything like that before. You were able to, so y'all literally were able to kill 2 birds with one stone.
Oh yeah,
there.
so both houses.
Yeah, y'all were able to help both those people get in the house, and they were okay.
So don't tell me it can't be done, because I've seen it.
Okay.
I watched that one all the way from ground up, and he didn't even have a scratch on the ground.
Yeah.
And when they decided to do it, he built the house.
I just don't think that kind of work ethic exists today anymore. Sadly,
I got a lot of opinions, and I can tell you a lot, but I'm not going to do it on this podcast.
We can go off on a rabbit hole on that one.
Yeah, yeah. We've been pretty good at not chasing.
I guess one of the and I've got several of those, but I'd sold a house in Brook Hollow subdivision from some people that was moving in here from Pennsylvania, and they were just overwhelmed with the kind of house that they could buy here from the kind of place that they lived in Pennsylvania, because it was a box house in Pennsylvania that they
Yeah.
were living in, and they had sold it and they were moving down here, and I was selling them a house that had 2,200 square foot in it,
Yeah.
and I forget what the price
And
was.
probably
and
some
everything.
character.
And oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they were just overwhelmed. The lady was crying. They were elderly people.
Mhm.
They were moving down here because the cold weather up there was affecting their health, and the doctor told them it would be good if they did move down here, and they did have some family around here.
Yeah.
And when we went to closing, and they were getting on a plane to fly up there and get all their stuff and bring back down here, and we went to closing, and they closed, and the lady was crying, and she hugged my neck. She was tickled to death, and I said, "Well, call me when you get back here, and if you need any help, I'd be glad to help you and everything." Because I mean, they were elderly people, and when several weeks went by, and I got a phone call from her, and the elderly man had passed away before he ever moved into the house. And so, and I'm telling this story because that's how personal and real the real estate industry is.
Yep.
And that's what we deal with. We deal, guys, with lives, and it's important that you treat them that way, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's important that you see the value that you serve in that situation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's real estate.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's we're we're sitting here going to talk to you about Mississippi Association of Realtors, but really this podcast has really hit home on relationships. This has been a relationship podcast today.
Yep.
You know,
It's been great.
and that's awesome.
Okay.
So I'm good with that. That's
Absolutely.
been.
Well, real quick, I would love to know, is there anything, and you can say I don't know to this question too, but is there anything about Gary Parker that you like to do, or something that people may not know about you?
Other than being strikingly handsome.
Guys,
I'm trying to butter you up so you get off my case.
He like that.
What people don't know about Gary Parker. Well, I've always loved sports.
Just the wrong school.
Well,
Great school. It's a great school.
I'm certified to scuba dive.
Oh,
Love the water.
Wow.
me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And hadn't gone in a long time, but
Yeah.
don't know whether they'll let me go anymore. With
No, you
open
just
heart
do a little.
surgery and stuff,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's that part of it. I love to ski. I mean,
Are you any good at golf?
He's better than I am.
Well,
That
I
doesn't
like,
say much.
let me.
That
I like to go
doesn't-
out there. I'm
no.
not going to say that I can play,
Yeah.
but I like to go out there.
Yeah.
It's not much saying you're.
Yeah. I have. He's also got years of experience on that over me as well.
Yeah, I'd probably do that too.
Yeah.
But listen, I got years of experience. I've been in the real estate business longer than y'all are old. So
Yeah.
For sure.
That's,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
definitely.
saying. He ought to have a better swing than me on the golf course.
That's
you know,
right,
it's you asked me. I guess I love the Lord, and I learned that being a Christian is a daily walk. It don't all come at one time.
Mm-mm.
You learn every day, and all the things that you learn, your hardships and everything else is there for a reason. It's not why me.
Yeah.
It's what do you want me to learn from this?
That's a great way.
And that is the biggest thing that has impacted my life,
Yeah.
and it still does.
Yeah.
And you know, what do you want me to learn from this? And when you learn, you become better.
Yep.
And you just got to keep on looking at yourself in the mirror and be satisfied with what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really powerful, because victim mentality is, the why me is real easy to fall into. Do it all the time. But that's a lot of truth in that. Not how'd you say it? Not the why me, but what
Can I learn
What
from
can I learn
this?
from this?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's a great takeaway. from that.
It's I mean, I could expand on that, and I'll get on a rabbit hole
chase Yeah.
with that, but it's knowing that God is good no matter what the
That's right.
There you go.
circumstances, what's going on. He's still good. He's got a plan.
And as you, these relationships that you've been talking about, your relationship is a personal relationship, because every single solitary, and here we go back to my mantra, every single solitary one of us have a purpose, and everybody's purpose is different
Yep.
than the one sitting next to you.
Yep.
So look to God, and He'll show you the way.
Yep.
That's right.
That's it.
fantastic.
I
That's
think
great.
I think we just need to end on that.
I think.
Have
I
you got
think.
any more questions?
No, I
for me?
mean, I was going to say that he does have. I've recently learned that he does have a pretty awesome spot where apparently he knows where some crappie are, but I hadn't got a pin. drop yet.
Oh, we
I hadn't got a
Uh,
pin
Let's
drop
we
yet.
can we
on
can
some fishing. On some-
He probably don't want me to out him on that on this podcast. He may have people knocking on his door, but I'm just waiting on the fish fry.
we can end there.
Yeah. Okay. All
Thank
right.
y'all so much for watching this episode. I hope you learned lots of amazing things. Go build those relationships. We love y'all. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. God bless.